I believed every word he said, every tender vow that promised our love would be exclusive and eternal. I clung to the notion that our future was secure, woven together by whispered I love yous and plans made in soft candlelight. Then one quiet afternoon, while I was sorting through our shared documents to plan our next vacation, I opened his digital calendar, and there it was, a calendar filled with secret appointments that weren't meant for me. Each red-circled date and coded note about meetings with someone else shattered the trust one had so blindly given him. In that heart-stopping moment, the future I had believed in crumbled into shards of betrayal, and I was forced to confront a truth I never imagined. I still remember the early days of our relationship with a bittersweet clarity. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party on a crisp winter evening. The air was cool, and the soft glow of string lights cast a warm radiance over the gathering. He approached me with a smile that seemed to promise that I had finally found the one who would cherish every part of me. We talked for hours about our dreams, our favorite films, and the kind of future we both longed for. A future filled with adventures, quiet moments at home, and an unwavering commitment to one another. Every word he spoke, every promise he made, was like a delicate thread woven into the tapestry of our shared destiny. I trusted him completely, believing that the exclusivity he vowed was as certain as the stars in the winter sky. As the months passed, our connection deepened, and we began building our life together. We moved into a charming apartment in a quiet neighborhood, decorating it with cherished mementos of our time together. Framed photographs, handwritten letters, and little trinkets that reminded me of our happy moments. Every morning, I woke to his gentle good morning, and every night I fell asleep to his soft I love you, feeling secure in the intimacy we had cultivated. He often told me, "You're the only one for me," and I believed him with all my heart. Our conversations were filled with dreams of the future. Vacations to far-off places, a cozy home filled with laughter, and plans to one day start a family. I trusted him implicitly, convinced that our love was not only exclusive but unbreakable. Yet, over time, I began to notice small discrepancies that I dismissed as the quirks of everyday life. He would sometimes leave the house in a rush, mentioning urgent meetings without offering details. His phone, which had always been a shared comfort, became his private refuge. Its screen dimmed as soon as I entered the room. I tried not to overthink these moments, attributing them to the stress of a demanding job and the pressures of planning a future together. I wanted to believe that our love was strong enough to withstand the little mysteries of busy schedules. But a quiet unease began to form, a subtle whisper in the back of my mind that something was not as it seemed. One late afternoon, when our home was quiet and I was organizing our travel plans for a long-awaited vacation, I stumbled upon a strange pop-up on his laptop. Out of habit, I assumed it was just a reminder for an upcoming meeting, but curiosity got the better of me. I clicked it, and there in the calendar view were countless entries with red circles, each one labeled with cryptic phrases like private appointment and exclusive meeting. At first, I thought it was a scheduling quirk, a placeholder for something he hadn't yet filled in. But as I scrolled further, the truth began to crystallize. These were not mundane work meetings, they were secret appointments with someone else. My heart hammered as I clicked on one entry, revealing details of a meeting at a fancy restaurant on a night he had claimed to be working late. I sat there, frozen in disbelief as the room around me blurred into insignificance. Every tender promise he had made, every whispered vow of exclusivity, now seemed like nothing more than empty words. The calendar was a digital confession, a meticulously maintained record of his secret life that I had never been meant to see. I could feel my pulse racing, my breath catching in my throat, as the magnitude of the betrayal crashed over me. In that heart-wrenching moment, the future I had so lovingly envisioned with him disintegrated into a pile of broken dreams and shattered trust. The days that followed were a tumultuous blend of sorrow and anger. I replayed the images from his calendar over and over, trying desperately to convince myself that there must be a misunderstanding. I told myself that perhaps he had arranged those meetings for professional reasons, that the labels were misinterpretations or errors. But the more I examined the details, the dates, the times, the specific locations, the more I realized that each appointment was a deliberate act of deception. My mind churned with questions. Who was this mysterious person? How long had he been meeting with someone else behind my back? And most painfully of all, why had he betrayed me, the woman he had promised was his only one? I began to gather every scrap of evidence, documenting each entry meticulously. I took screenshots of the calendar, printed out the details, and compiled them into a folder that I labeled Truth. Each piece of evidence was a stark reminder of the life he had hidden from me, a hidden life that existed in the shadows of our shared future. I felt as though I were piecing together a puzzle of betrayal, each fragment more painful than the last, until a complete picture emerged. The man I loved was not as devoted as he had claimed to be. He had built a secret world filled with appointments and clandestine meetings, a world in which I had no part. The emotional weight of this discovery was almost unbearable. I found myself questioning everything, every conversation, every gentle "I love you" that had once filled my heart with warmth. I wandered through our home as if it were a foreign place, each room echoing with memories that now seemed tainted by deception. The cozy evenings we had spent together, the plans we had made for the future, all became cruel reminders of the trust one had placed in him, a trust that was now irrevocably broken. In the midst of this overwhelming sorrow, I reached out to my closest friend, someone who had always been there to offer a listening ear and a comforting hug. We met at a quiet cafe one rainy afternoon, and as I recounted every painful detail, the hidden calendar entries, the secret appointments, the betrayal that had unraveled our shared dreams, her eyes filled with tears. "You deserve to know the truth," she said softly, her voice steady and compassionate. "You deserve a love that is real, not one built on secrets and lies." Her words, gentle yet resolute, became a lifeline, sparking within me a flicker of determination. I realized that while the pain of this betrayal was immense, it was also a call to reclaim my dignity and rebuild my future. Emboldened by my friend's support, I resolved that I could no longer allow his deception to define me. I spent several agonizing days preparing for the inevitable confrontation. I organized all the evidence into one carefully compiled folder: screenshots, printed calendar entries, and detailed notes that left no room for ambiguity. I rehearsed my words over and over in the quiet solitude of our bedroom, standing before the mirror until my reflection looked back with a mixture of sorrow and unyielding resolve. "I trusted you with every part of me," I whispered to myself, "and now I must know why you built a secret life behind my back." Each repetition was a vow, a promise that I would not let this betrayal break me, that I would confront the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The day of the confrontation arrived on a cold, overcast afternoon. Our home, which had once been a sanctuary of shared dreams and gentle laughter, now felt heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. I sat in the living room, folder in hand, as I waited for him to return from what he again claimed was a late work meeting. Every minute seemed to stretch on infinitely, each second a reminder that the future I had planned was slipping away into a realm of deceit. When he finally walked through the door, his face wore the same calm expression I had always known, a mask of normalcy that now struck me as painfully disingenuous. I met him in the living room, where the soft light of the late afternoon created long, somber shadows. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low but resolute, cutting through the silence like a clarion call. His eyes flickered toward the folder on the coffee table, and for a brief moment, I saw a flash of uncertainty, a glimmer of the truth he had tried so desperately to hide. I took a deep breath and began to lay out the evidence, one piece at a time: the screenshots of secret calendar entries, the precise dates and times that mapped out his hidden appointments, and the cryptic labels that spoke of clandestine meetings. "I trusted you when you said we were building a future together," I said, my voice wavering with heartbreak, "but these entries reveal a different story, a story of secrets and lies. How could you do this to me?" For a long, agonizing moment, he remained silent. I watched as the color drained from his face, his eyes filled with a mixture of regret and fear. He stammered feeble explanations, vague references to work emergencies and casual remarks that now sounded like rehearsed lines, but nothing he said could erase the undeniable evidence laid out before us. My heart ached with the weight of every broken promise, every whispered "I love you" that now rang hollow. The room was heavy with the sorrow of our lost future, and in that moment, I knew that the man I had once trusted was no longer the person I thought he was. The confrontation was a painful collision of raw emotion and undeniable truth, a moment when every tender promise and every shared dream disintegrated into a bitter reality of betrayal. I felt a profound sorrow for the future we had once envisioned together, a future built on the foundation of trust and mutual love, now rendered meaningless by the hidden life he had led. I demanded to know why he had built a secret world where I was not welcome, why his promises of exclusivity were nothing but empty words. My voice, though trembling with heartbreak, carried a firm resolve. "I deserve a future where my trust is honored, not betrayed," I said. "I deserve honesty, not a hidden life of secrets." His silence was a confession, a painful admission that the love we had built together was nothing more than a fragile illusion, shattered by the weight of his deception. In the aftermath of that confrontation, I was enveloped by a profound sense of loss and an overwhelming need to reclaim my life. The days that followed were a blur of sorrow and introspection. I wandered through our once happy home, every room echoing with memories of laughter and shared dreams now tainted by the bitter taste of betrayal. I reread the evidence over and over, each screenshot a reminder of the secret life I had been denied, each calendar entry a painful testament to a future that would never be. The pain was almost unbearable, a relentless, gnawing ache that left me questioning everything I had believed in. Yet, amid that darkness, a small flame of determination began to burn. I realized that while the betrayal had shattered my trust, it also offered me a chance to rebuild my life, to rediscover who I was without the weight of deception. I sought solace in therapy, where I poured my heart out to a compassionate counselor who helped me navigate the tumult of emotions that now defined my days. In those quiet sessions, I learned to accept that the scars of betrayal might never fully fade, but they could become symbols of my strength. A reminder that even in the face of the deepest heartache, I had the power to rebuild and redefine my future. I wrote in my journal until my thoughts overflowed onto the pages, each word a cathartic release of the pain that had once consumed me. Slowly, I began to see a glimmer of hope, a possibility of a future that was entirely my own, a future where trust was rebuilt through honesty, and where every new day was a step toward reclaiming my identity. Publicly, the unraveling of our shared future became a quiet topic among friends and family. Whispers of sympathy, sideways glances, and gentle words of encouragement followed me wherever I went. I began to share fragments of my journey on a personal blog, writing with raw, unfiltered honesty about the betrayal, the confrontation, and the painstaking process of healing. The response was overwhelming. Messages of solidarity from strangers who had experienced similar heartbreak, heartfelt notes from old friends who reminded me that I was stronger than the lies that had once defined my world. Each message became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the deepest of darkness, the human spirit can find its way to the light. As the months turned into a year, I slowly began to rediscover who I was before the betrayal, a woman with dreams, passions, and an unyielding capacity for love. I ventured back into the world of dating with a guarded heart, each new encounter approached with cautious optimism and the hard-won lessons of my past. Every sincere smile, every kind word, helped to piece together the shattered fragments of my heart, gradually forming a tapestry of resilience and hope. I learned that true love must be built on transparency, that every promise must be honored with honesty, and that I was worthy of a future defined by mutual respect and genuine connection. Now, as I sit in the soft, comforting light of my modest apartment, a space I have lovingly transformed into my sanctuary of healing, I reflect on the long, winding journey that has led me from the depths of betrayal to a place of quiet empowerment. The memory of that hidden calendar, the evidence of secret appointments that revealed a future built on deception, remains etched in my heart as a painful reminder of the fragility of trust. Yet it is also a testament to the strength I discovered within myself, a strength that allowed me to confront the truth, reclaim my dignity, and build a new future on my own terms. Every sunrise now is a promise of a new beginning, a chance to rewrite my story and to embrace a future where my destiny is mine to create. I have learned that betrayal, as devastating as it can be, can also serve as a catalyst for transformation, a painful, powerful invitation to rediscover who we truly are beneath the layers of shattered promises. I now move forward with an unshakable conviction that I deserve a love that is honest and true, a future where trust is not a fragile illusion, but a solid foundation built on mutual respect and transparency. This is my story, a journey of shattered dreams and heartbreaking betrayal, and ultimately, of the triumphant reclamation of my life. I trusted him with every fiber of my being, believing in the sacred vows we exchanged, and dreaming of a future built on a shared vision of love. But when I discovered that his calendar, our calendar, was filled with secret appointments with someone else, I was forced to confront a truth that shattered every hope I had ever nurtured. In that moment of piercing clarity, I gathered every piece of evidence, faced the painful reality head-on, and reclaimed my future from the ruins of deception. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of raw, unfiltered pain has led me to this place. A place where I stand as a survivor determined to build a life defined by truth, self-respect, and the unwavering promise that I am worthy of a love that is real. Now, as I step boldly into each new day, I carry with me the lessons of the past and the hope for a future that is entirely my own. A future where every promise is honored with honesty, every dream is built on a foundation of trust, and my heart is free to love without fear. Every sunrise is a fresh canvas, a chance to rewrite my story, to embrace the strength I have discovered within myself, and to shape a destiny that reflects the brilliant light of truth and self-respect. I am the architect of my own future, and with every new day I choose to live a life filled with genuine love, unwavering honesty, and the steadfast belief that I deserve nothing less than a future built on the unbreakable promise of truth.